Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And we'll start with EVE Online, and I did play a little bit less EVE Online last week than the previous week, focusing mostly on running some anomalies, cleaning up with a little bit of salvage as well, because I do want to take a look at rig production and things like that, potentially again in the future. So I'm actually building up a nice stash of salvage stuff. Been going pretty damn well. I've of course kept up with my PI on a daily basis, and if you guys follow EVE Talk, a lot of the stuff is starting to go up in price quite significantly. And yeah, coolants, mechanical parts are actually holding on very well to like a 10,000 disc a piece price, which is historically speaking a pretty damn good price. So I did empty out my planets as well last week, brought everything into Amar, and honestly I'm not just selling everything right away because you don't want to spook the market too much. That lesson has been shown quite clearly when it comes to the Isogen market. I think some of those huge sellers that just put up hundreds of thousands of units in a single sell order quite often undercut themselves quite a bit, and you can potentially sell a little bit more slowly but get a lot more of or a far better return. I also did a run for the BPCs this week, still basically the same story. I think for some BPCs the margins are going up. The Dreadnought BPCs, it's a mixed bag. Basically some of them are selling like just above production costs, and some of the others are like double the price all of a sudden. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. We'll have to scope that I think to see how quickly they sell, and then I've got a second batch running, so I'll be able to get a good feel of the BPCs for Dreadnoughts. At this point I think making a little bit extra there is not a bad idea, considering CCP's plans for potentially making Dreadnoughts cheaper compared to like carriers. So hopefully all of that works out, and I have of course been focusing on that. Other than this, of course, I'm keeping an eye on what's coming next, and still at the moment it's really all about FanFest. I think it's pretty quiet as far as I can tell. We got some sales going. We got the news that like $500,000 was gathered during Plex for Good, which is pretty damn amazing. But yeah, it's all eyes on FanFest, and hopefully, at least that's what I'm hoping for, CCP does come out again with information, dev blogs and things like that a little bit before FanFest, so that we can get ready, can get into the mood and in the mindset, so we can prepare and actually have some cool conversations and things like that during FanFest itself. So I am looking forward to that. Hopefully it all works out, but overall it's a wait and see approach in EVE Online. And so the other time that I've spent there has still been bringing stuff from a couple of other stations in Amar space into Amar itself, putting that into the right containers. Many billions at this point, although it's mostly bulky stuff that's left. So I've got some like components for capital parts. Actually, I'm planning to bring a lot more of those into Amar. I think if CCP does make a big move on the Dreadnoughts, I think all of a sudden that market could go up quite a lot, and then bringing them into a trade hub can potentially be the best place to sell them. At least that's my theory. And then we just got some titanium and some pyrite left as well. Super bulky, very difficult to transport in big amounts, but well, it's what's left, so I'm slowly working on that, and it's not good news there. Definitely gonna keep all of that at this point because it's just so cheap. It's under pressure pretty much everywhere. Yeah, high-sec minerals are not that great at the moment, but again, let's keep an eye out for a FanFest and see how things evolve over there. And with some time off from work last week, that gave me some time to start a new adventure. And so I have started playing Elden Ring. Now, it's a very difficult game, and I kinda even underestimated it a little bit. So I went for an astrologer, so ranged class, magic class. I think that's going to be the easiest way to try and make progress in the game. And so far, that's exactly what's been happening. But I'll be honest, bosses are super difficult if you're not used to that type of gameplay. So I've failed many times, I've died quite a lot of times, but at this point I'm also basically getting some spoilers, right? Watching some videos to get better gear, to find out how the upgrade system works and things like that. Still have no idea, to be honest, but yeah, I got a couple of good spells, and I basically also found my little grinding spot that I'm using at the moment. You're actually seeing that in the background there, and I've got a couple of like sub bosses bosses that I've managed to do, I'm starting to get a feel for the gameplay, and it is slowly getting better and better, which I think is really good news, because I understand that the game is absolutely huge and I love the exploration part, and I think if I can get my character sturdy enough, then I will start to go out, explore, try other options, have some cool adventures in Elden Ring. I'm not really focused on like beating the boss the right way or anything like that. I just want to try and make progress in the game. Paid full price for it. I mean, the reviews were like really damn awesome, and what pulled me over is that I read a couple of comments basically making the transition or explaining that there is this Skyrim element to it, where you can just go out there, do stuff, and then get stronger that way, come back to a boss that you're having trouble with, and then defeat him by basically becoming overpowered compared to him. So that's basically my plan for Elden Ring. Definitely not the way a lot of players that love those Souls type games would do it, but for me, this is my first Souls type game, so I am definitely going to take the easy route as much as I can. But yeah, it's going surprisingly well. It's also a game where I can actually pace myself for the first time. I'm playing like a little bit, maybe an hour, 2 hours. Those are the types of sessions, and then I'm like, yeah, starting to make mistakes, starting to lose runes, and I'm like, all right, let's take a break and let's get back tomorrow, see if we can find something like a cool goal to try and reach, and then the next day start up again, try and do it. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, and yeah, it's actually a surprisingly fun game. But yeah, that's not the only thing. I actually quickly wanted to mention that as well, with a couple of days off. What I also did is I read 2 books, which is The Three-Body Problem and The Dark Forest. Now there's still a third one. I bought the whole trilogy there for this small holiday, and very, very cool books, I have to say. Also after reading some reviews and things like that from a Chinese science fiction writer. Cool stories. I'm actually not going to spoil anything. I just want to say I read those 2 books in like less than 3 days. I was definitely hooked, and it's really, really cool. Awesome stories in that one. And so yeah, if you happen to be reading or anything like that, I love the Warhammer 40k books. That's something that I do from time to time as well. But here, tried something else, and I can definitely recommend it. These are 2 really, really cool books. So The Three-Body Problem and The Dark Forest. Some cool sci-fi stuff. And that was my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.